this is the business model that I haven't really heard anyone kind of talk to. Of course, people sell physical products, but right now in today's day and age, we're in the information age, right?
Yes.
And information technology and whatnot. And so, of course, you can, with a physical product, you need some capital. But now in the information age, you just need to provide value, entertainment, have some knowledge. And of course, you can leverage that and monetize it. And that's what you kind of do. You kind of help people, um, leverage their personal brand and sell the digital products, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, before we even dive into that, kind of give us your origin story of how you got into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So ever since I was little, I was on the internet since I was about 8 or 9. And I spent my childhood playing Neopets. I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't.
But yeah, so I like when MySpace came out, I was building MySpace layouts. And when Tumblr came out, I built a following there. And then when Instagram first came out, I also started an Instagram account like right away, but I didn't keep up with it because I didn't understand how to monetize it back then.
Hmm.
So ever since I could remember, I loved like building community online and just connecting with others. And so when I was at my last job, their values didn't align with me. And I always knew that I wanted to start my own business, but I couldn't like see the picture of how that was going to happen.
Hmm.
And I realized I think I was like 22 or 23 back then. And I thought, okay, even if I spend the next 5 years trying to build a business, and even if I fail, I'll at least learn something. And so that's kind of what I did. I like went into it. I quit my job. I had a bit of savings, and here we are.
So you took that leap of faith and it worked out.
Yeah.
Now, how scary was that? Because I feel a lot of people, they can, not take that leap of faith and still be miserable in the position that they're in. And of course, you can still build your empire after your 9 to 5 job. But I think if you have a lot more time in your hands, depending on how busy your day is, you can still progress a lot faster.
Yeah, for sure. I don't necessarily recommend people always quitting their jobs. I say it really just depends on the person and where they're at in life and what like how their personality works. Some people they want to dive right in, and then some people, want to slow transition. And for me, I just because I didn't go to college, um, so I was like, okay, what are the chances of me getting a job that I actually like that's going to pay me well? So I kind of just dived right into my business. It was really scary. I remember that I was struggling for the first 2 years, but luckily my parents were worried too, but they just kind of like let me have that time, which I'm really appreciative now because I know that not a lot of people's stories. They have like their friends doubting them, they have their family doubting them. Um, but when I started, it was mostly like me doubting myself.
Okay. So
Yeah.
were you just literally just by yourself, just working 2 years, just failing? And, you know, I can only imagine, it's you being by yourself, you probably don't want to go out. You just want to focus on you because if you don't get this right, then, you're going to go back to something that you don't want, right?
Yeah. So when I quit my job, I moved back in with my dad, and my parents just like let me live at home. Well, they're divorced, but at some point in my business, I moved in with my mom, and I actually just moved out this year, but I went to go travel by myself last year. But yeah, the first 2 years, I was with my ex back then, so we spent like a lot of time together. But I remember at one point my business, it was like doing so horribly that I didn't even go to family gatherings because I didn't want to talk about it. So I mean, there's been ups and there's been downs along the way.
So why was it failing? So to provide a context here, you were
Yeah.
selling um, digital templates for
So
photographers.
I started out selling services.
Okay.
And then I realized that I didn't really like doing client work. I had a decent sized following. And I also really like design. And so in late 2018, so I started my business, I would say in 2016. And then in late 2018, I saw people selling like templates on Creative Market and stuff. And
Hmm.
I thought, okay, I can do that. So in late 2018, I put a few like products up on Creative Market, and I almost gave up, but my friend was like, okay, just give it a few more weeks. And once the first two sales came in, that gave me enough to be like, okay, if there are thousands of templates out there already and people are able to find mine, all I have to do is drive more traffic and more visitors to those product pages, and I can probably get more sales. And that's really where digital products started for me.
Okay. And at that point, what was your strategy? Because I know in your page, you said you have a way to leverage Pinterest, right,
Yeah.
to your channels, right? So was that the first step that you took, or did you take another approach?
No, Pinterest. So Pinterest was my main driving traffic. So I realized I was reading up on how to get better ranking within creative market and its
Hmm.
SEO. So I think that they calculate it based on um, the sales you get. So not really, I don't think it's the number. It's either the number of sales or how many, like the number of total sales. But so my plan was, okay, I'm just going to get a lot of sales and also drive a lot of traffic to the page. So I used Pinterest and their internal SEO. So it kind of like was a feedback loop. The more visitors I got, the more sales I got, and then the more sales I got, um, the higher ranking I would get. And by
Hmm.
ranking higher, I also get more page views from them.
Uh, so what did you do exactly on Pinterest? Was
Yeah.
it just static content, or did you make videos? Because
So
creating
yeah,
content, yeah.
it was static content. So if you look at my Instagram, there's like those product mock-ups of the
Yeah.
laptops and all of that. So I did like mock-ups and then I put them on Pinterest and would say like, um, get my pricing guide or get these like marketing templates, and then I would do like a product preview, and then people would click into them, and I would just look at like what key terms my customers were using. So my customers back then were photographers, so I was like, okay, what do photographers need? And they needed like pricing guides, they needed Instagram graphics, Pinterest graphics. So that's what I did.
Okay, so you already knew what kind of keywords you had to rank for, right? And you
Yeah.
kind of leveraged that, or you put that on your Pinterest post to rank up for that. Now, how long
Mhm.
did it take for you to actually get some more traction using that method?
So when I first started selling, it took 2 weeks or 3 weeks to get my first sale. And then I would say it about 3 to 4 months in, that's when the sales started picking up. So I was getting sales in the first 3 months, but they weren't like anything
Consistent?
sustainable
Okay.
consistent at the time. And then I would say around the 3 to 4 month mark is
Okay.
when,
But a
yeah.
lot of people may not know. I didn't know this until like a couple months ago, where Pinterest is literally a search engine too, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
of course, you can search, or you can be ranked on Google for SEO, and it can take you 6 months. But if you leverage, Pinterest, which is another really strong, even YouTube is a strong search engine. If you know how to do SEO on that, then I think it can really pick up. But like you said, it can take months for that to actually happen. So you have to be patient on that end.
Yeah, you just have to be patient with business in general. But yeah, SEO is great for blog posts, Google, YouTube, Pinterest, especially. Not a lot of business owners are using Pinterest. So it's a great thing to tap into.
So was that really the game changer right there? Literally just using Pinterest, learning SEO, and driving more traffic to your shop.
Yeah, so I would say that was like one pivot of my life. And then last year, I actually didn't use my personal brand that much to be selling my templates. I mostly used SEO.
Hmm.
And then once I started selling my courses, that's when I had like a community and a following on my Instagram.
Okay. So
Yeah.
wait, just to provide like more context here,
Yeah.
what were you exactly selling? What were these templates?
So for photographers,
Yeah.
you know how they send like, okay, these are my services, these are my collections, FAQ. So I basically put that into a PDF and I called that like a pricing guide or a pricing magazine. I was also selling Instagram like story templates or posts. So they just input their own images and text into the templates. So I made the templates in Photoshop and InDesign and then eventually Canva.
Hmm. So that way, any photographer, or
Yeah.
they can have a more streamlined process of putting
So
out
they just
content.
like buy my product, download the files, input their info, and then every time like a client reaches out to them, they can just send them their PDF.
Hmm.
Or a lot of people have like it on their profile where they can like click a link and then it'll open up. Or
Yeah.
I've seen some first service providers get email addresses too. I don't know if you've seen that.
I think I've seen a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I feel that like from the outsider looking in, I feel like this is like a very niche sort of business model, for
Mhm.
photographers and creating these digital templates and whatnot. But of course, you've been in this game longer than me. So, how was the competition? And if so, how do you differentiate yourself, or was it really just doing SEO, being consistent with that, and waiting for those for the traffic to come in to get those conversions?
Yeah, so when people are starting out, I definitely recommend, I always say to everyone, you want to have a specific target market and do your market research. So
Hmm.
before I started creating the templates, I also looked at what the competition was like, if there was a lot of competition, because at first when I started creating templates, I was like, okay, I'm just going to help everyone. And while that's great and everything, there's more competition when you're trying to help everyone. And so I started looking at different industries that I could help. And I had a lot of friends that were photographers, and I knew that a lot of them needed help with content, was Instagram, with all of these things. And with design, it's easy to differentiate yourself because everyone kind of has like a different style.
Hmm.
And I knew that, like, looking at the ones that were out there, I had a different style. And so um, that was how I mostly differentiate myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after a couple months, were you making what you said, four figures every month
Yeah.
consistently? Yeah.
Yeah. So I made,
Huh.
um, I would say, I want to say like that 3 to 4 month mark, I was making about 2 to 3K from the templates. And that was enough for me to go travel, because that was my goal. That was why I started my template shop, because I wanted to go travel and not have to do so much client work.
Okay. And were you working remotely as like a digital nomad?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how was
Yeah.
that?
It was amazing. Yeah, I met so many people along the way. I did like a co-working, co-living situation in Spain. I lived in a hostel, and like it was a nice hostel, but I stayed in a hostel in Copenhagen. Did some Airbnbs in Southeast Asia. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun. So were you actually really productive while traveling? Or is it
No.
hard to?
Well, yes and no. So how I like to work is, when I work, like, I can get a
Mhm.
lot done, but I
Okay.
also really just like laying around, not doing anything, spending time with friends. I love just taking the day off and
Hmm.
going to like a coffee shop with a friend or a restaurant and just,
Yeah.
so that's kind of how I work.
Now, what was the next step? Of course, you have this nice traffic coming in from Pinterest, making say $3,000 a month, kind of
Yeah.
consistently. You went to travel. Now, for me at least, I think if I were to be in this position, I'd be like, okay, this is a really good source, but maybe I need to
Hmm.
add another traffic source. Maybe really, like you said, you mentioned you leverage your personal brand, right? So was that the second thing they did to make sure you drive even more traffic?
So after I started using Pinterest to drive traffic to my templates, and I was like, oh, this is like really great marketing tool for businesses. Then I created a Pinterest course to
Mm,
teach other people how to do it.
okay.
Yeah.
And your store was on Etsy, right? Or did you have your own?
So it was on Creative Market at
Oh,
first, and
Creative
then
Market, yeah.
I moved, not moved. I also put it on Etsy because they let you put it on multiple places.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you think that's a better idea instead of creating your own proper website, because these are already marketplaces where people go in there you know, to shop or buy something. So you think if you're starting out, is it better to really test your idea out, or yeah, just test your idea out on an online marketplace first, and then from there you could create your own website to really sell from there?
It really depends on what people want to create. So if they want to create like a course, there's Udemy and like all of these things, but then the price point is also low. The thing about digital products that people want to keep in mind is that if you sell something that's low ticket, you have to make more sales to make like something like amount that feels worth it to you. But if you sell something at a higher ticket, you can sell less spots and still hit that same amount. So for me, I really say it depends on someone's like long-term goals.
Hmm.
If they, because some people don't want to have a personal brand, right? They just want to be behind the scenes. They don't ever want to show their face. So I always knew that I wanted a personal brand, even though I was afraid of showing my face in the beginning. So that what there were, those were like fears that I knew I had to work on overcoming. So if someone just wants to like be on the back end, then I would say like figure out how to run ads and utilize SEO and all of these tools. But if you want to have like courses and maybe retreats someday or events or something like that, then I would say focus on building a personal brand. And you can do that through Instagram, YouTube, you know. So there, you know how there's like different marketing tools like email marketing and
Hmm.
SEO. It really just depends on what someone wants to, what direction they want to go in.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now,
Sorry, that was like a
no, no, no,
long-winded
no, it's
answer.
cool. So let's what are the list of digital products that you can sell? I mean, of course you can
Yeah.
create courses and whatnot, but what are some other ones that people don't
So
probably
you can
know?
create templates, which is what I did. You can also, templates can mean like design templates, or they can mean like Google spreadsheets that maybe if someone is in finance, they can create a spreadsheet for people to help them with their money. Or you can create like an ebook, workbooks, guides. You can do a membership. You can do resources. So there's a lot of like resources that are being sold online. So email swipe copy. So whatever the industry they're in, there's something that they can sell that's going to help someone else streamline their process.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now, how going back to Pinterest, how underrated is it? Like honestly.
Okay, so with Pinterest, I always recommend like every online business owner should use it. If you are like a plumber or something where you're location dependent,
Mm-hmm.
probably not a great platform for you. But if you're an online accountant, a lawyer for business owners, or you have like you're a you're an online health coach, I would say definitely be on Pinterest, because the great thing about Pinterest is that so many different types of people use it. So moms use it, dads, teenagers, people in their 20s. So basically a lot of people are using Pinterest, and the chances are like a lot of people in whatever industry they're in, their competitors aren't using it. So it's better to get in now rather than later, because once you start ranking and people start clicking on your pins, like the earlier you get in, the better, right? So
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes yeah.
yeah.
So when if you're to create a WordPress website, you can download plugins like SEO Yoast to kind of
Mhm.
help you out with their SEO. But for Pinterest, is there a way to track your analytics and see how well your SEO is going?
Yeah, so there's Pinterest on the back end, and you can see the analytics of like how many impressions you're getting, what pins are best performing, which boards are best performing. And the great thing about Pinterest is that you can utilize SEO in like your pin description, your board description, your board title. So there's so many places where you can optimize your SEO.
Hmm. So now with a digital product, there's really no upfront costs. There's no
Hmm.
overhead. I mean, yes, if you pay for the Adobe sort of programs, you could do that, but you can also leverage Canva, which is free, right?
Yes.
Um, but the only thing that you really need is experience, having some sort of in-depth knowledge in some sort of category of some sort, right? So that's really all you need to build a digital product, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so do you think that literally I feel like some people might doubt themselves, like, hey, like I'm so young, I'm just a college student, I haven't gotten any experience, and they want to create a digital product. Maybe they don't have any money to start other business ventures. What do you have to say to that? Like,
If
what's the best?
you if you're a college student, you have so much time ahead of you. I'm like almost jealous, because you can start today and maybe the first one flops, right? And then you do the second one and the second one flops. But if you keep doing it, you're going to get better over time. And honestly, age is really just a number. That was what stopped me in the beginning, because I was like, I'm only, 23. But now that I look back on it, I see so many people in their early 20s, even like 19, 18, doing so many amazing things. So don't let your age stop you. And unfortunately, I don't think the imposter syndrome ever really goes away. So if you can learn to, do show up anyway, it's just going to help you so much more in the long run.
But how much confidence do you need to really teach something? Or like if you're going to sell a course
Yeah.
and maybe you're not a master at that one subject, like
Yeah.
can you still teach it? Can you still kind of give value of some sort, even if you're not a master at that one particular subject?
Yes. So you're going to learn along the way. So when I started my membership where I teach other people how to create digital products, I did not know everything, but I knew enough and I knew that people were asking me for like help or advice. I had a few people DM me, they're like, are you ever going to create something on passive income? And even when I created my Pinterest course, I didn't know like everything under the sun about Pinterest, and that almost stopped me as well. So if people have that fear, I can totally relate. But you have to remember that you probably know more than other people. And if you know more than other people and you can at least help them get to the next step, then that's enough to get started. And then you just continuously work on your craft along the way.
Okay. And
Yeah.
do you suggest that for any entrepreneur, um, because you said you first use Pinterest to drive
Mhm.
traffic um, to your shop,
Yeah.
but of course there's other sources and whatnot that you can use. Do you think it's better to focus on one thing instead of spreading yourself out way too thin and trying out a million? Really focus on one course of action first before you proceed to the next?
Yes. So I always recommend people do 1 to 2 platforms at most. Most people are on Instagram, so that's like their primary. And then I would say a secondary, like YouTube or a blog or something like that. But definitely don't try to do everything all at once. Even now, I'm not doing everything all at once. You're
Okay.
eventually going to get to it, but focus on 1 to 2 platforms.
Okay. So now let's just break it down for a second. So say you're a photographer or a blogger,
Mhm.
you have your own blog and whatnot, and you're doing affiliate marketing, for example. What's the first step to do, I guess, to sell or to start a digital product to sell it?
Yeah, so for blogging, write a ton of SEO optimized like blog posts and pick a subject, and then you can create like an ebook or a course on that subject. And it's going to take time for you to rank, but I don't think it's also that hard to rank. So if you just give it a few months, and it's going to pick up steam over time. And then what was the other one you said, photographer?
Yeah, it can be either example though. Yeah, so either a
Okay.
blogger or photographer.
And then what was the question again?
Like, what are like the first steps? I kind of want to build up, like, what's the first step you should do to build a digital product? So
Yeah.
first, you have to, I
So
think,
first,
decide what you're gonna
yeah.
do. What type of digital product you want to sell? Either a course or sell these templates.
Okay, so first thing before anything, we want to do market research. You want to know like who is the person that's going to buy the thing, so the
Mm.
customer, and then what are they looking for online? So what are they searching into the search bar on Google, YouTube, Pinterest. So when you type like words into the search bar, it's going to show you the text, right, of what other people are searching for. So what I always do is I screenshot. So I'll start typing and then I'll screenshot like the other things that people are searching for. And then I just make a list of like, okay, these are the common words that people are using. And then you can create blog posts around that, because the second step after market research is you want to build an audience, and not just any audience. You want to create an audience that needs your product later on. So for example, if someone is, say, like a videographer, right? And they want to teach people how to create videos. So you want to see like what are the things that people are searching for. And then you want to think, okay, where are people in their journey? So if you're creating a course, are you creating a course for absolute beginners? Or do you want to create a course for someone who is a bit more further along and they want to learn a specific skill about video? And then you actually and then you create like your digital product.
Yeah, so there's a lot of steps here, I guess, because you have to
Yeah.
create the actual course, or of course you do the market research to see
Hmm.
what people want. Um, and then once you do that, you actually create the content that you
You
need to
create
sell.
you create the content, and then you create the following or audience.
Okay, so you always want to build the actual product first, and then from there you can build your audience. So,
Hmm.
what's the best way to build your audience? Because I feel this is only my opinion,
Yeah.
but of course you can create a lot of content where you're trying to sell something, but every once in a while, or for the most part, you want to create content that's very valuable and free, accessible to anyone, so that you could pitch your services, not sound too salesy, right?
So for me, yes, I have created a lot of content. You also don't want to give all of your content away for free, because this is the problem I see with a lot of YouTubers, where they give all of the content away for free, but then if people keep getting things for free, then they're going to keep expecting things for free. And so you want to give free content, but also you want to create like you want to educate them on their pain points, right? So you want to have pain point awareness and problem awareness, so that when you create your course or your product or whatever it is, they still need that. And they're not like, oh, I'll just consume all of their free content and that's good enough for me.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
said, so once you have the content or the course, whatever digital product you're selling, you build your personal brand. And you said focus on one or two platforms, right?
Yeah, so
Now,
focus on 1 to 2 platforms. And then once you decide what platform you're on, you want to understand the platform. So if you're on YouTube, you really want to understand how SEO works, how the thumbnail covers, like what's going to make people click. You want to probably collaborate with other YouTubers so that you can cross promote your audiences. Or if you are on Instagram, you want to understand how that platform works. So whatever platform that you choose, understand how people are using the platform.
okay. So in retrospect, this is really like you have to do a lot of back end work, and you're not going to get any rewards. But even once you launch the course, you're probably not going to get, I guess, an immediate upsell in sales, right? It can take over, it can take some time basically, but once you start to really rank, the sales start to pour in, right?
Yeah, so there's a few strategies. So I like to think of number one, you can build it organically, which is I felt like what I did with my Pinterest course. I built my following organically on Instagram with a lot of content, or you can utilize SEO. I see a lot of bloggers who don't even have Instagram do really, really well. And then the third strategy is, well, I guess there's two. One is organic traffic, and then another one is paid traffic. And then with paid traffic, you have to really understand ads and probably have email marketing and have a really good system set up for that. So there's
And
like either organic or paid.
were you purely organic?
Yeah, I would say organic. We are going to start running paid ads, but I would say I've ran a few ads in the past, but nothing like really big. So I would say up until this point, all organic.
Okay. Now, what type of content did you post, and what was your schedule like? Did you literally post consistently 3 times a day for
Yeah.
52
So
weeks?
for Instagram, for the most part, I would post 5 times a week, so Monday through Friday. And I call it my 4 types of content. So education content, storytelling content. So education content basically helps people see you as an expert. Educate and storytelling content helps people connect to your story, your values, your beliefs, all of these things, who you are, so it builds the trust. And then you have your I call it your viral content, but it's kind of like it's my mindset and inspirational content. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that people share to their Instagram stories, and those have helped me build my following a bunch. And then you have your sales content where you're selling your products or services.
Okay. And to really grow organically, which is a really tough thing because nowadays, especially on
Yeah.
Instagram, you have to pay to play it. Where I think on Pinterest, it's more organic, right? You can get a lot of
Hmm.
monthly views and whatnot. But for Instagram, what are some tips and tricks that you use to really to grow your following? Was it really the hashtags or what was it exactly? Because it's really hard to grow organically on Instagram.
Yeah, so I think I started, I was at about 6,000, I think, at the beginning of this year. And so I really took time with hashtags, and my hashtag strategy was basically to rank on um, the smaller hashtags. So I would look up like hashtag size, and I would target a lot of the smaller hashtags. And then once I started ranking on the smaller hashtags, then I would start including medium size and bigger size hashtags, because with big hashtags, everyone is using the hashtag, right? So it's easy for your post to go down. And if you're engagement isn't that great, then Instagram is going to be like, oh, this content is not getting that much engagement. So that's what I did at the beginning of the year. And then also those shareable like quotes on my Instagram did really well. So
Mm-hmm.
having people share my stuff really helped as well. And I think it's because with my industry, it's like the same people see the same names over and over again, right? And even if, say, for example, someone shares you on their Instagram, they don't follow you the first 5 times, but then they go to someone else's profile one day and they see that person talking about you too. They're maybe that's the point they finally check you out and start getting to know you and all those things. So I think that really helped out a lot, and just having people pass my name around helped me. And I also did like a few things here and there. I think I did 2 giveaways. So I gained like a few hundred followers from that, but it was mostly through hashtags, those shareable quotes. And then at one point I posted twice a day.
Okay. So what tools do you use to really search? Because I know, for example, Google Trends, if you want to look at what
Mm-hmm.
people are searching for on Google or on YouTube, you can literally go on Google Trends and see how popular one keyword is, right?
Yeah.
But for Instagram hashtags or maybe even Pinterest, where do you look that up?
So I just clicked on every individual hashtag and then I made a Google sheet of, okay, column 1 says the hashtag, then column 2 says the number of time it's been used, and then column 3 said like what kind of photos show up. So if you click on some hashtags, you'll see basically photos of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you click on other hashtags, it's mostly text. And so you also want to make sure, like if you're using a hashtag and it's a photo of you, you want to make sure that the photos that are ranking are mostly of photos of other people
Mm-hmm.
because it needs to match up. Otherwise, it's probably not going to rank.
Okay. So is it fair to say that you should not be totally original? You still have to kind of copy what other people are doing, but kind of add your own flavor, right?
Exactly. Don't reinvent the
Okay.
wheel, but add something to the wheel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think so. I think someone told me that in terms of marketing, you don't want to literally try something. Of course, you can do guerrilla marketing, right? But
Mm-hmm.
uh, in reality, what you want to do is kind of follow the trend or follow what other people are doing and add your own mix too, and maybe you can go viral at some point. Um,
Yeah.
but
Success leaves clues.
mhm. Now going back to Instagram though, uh, you've leveraged or really used Instagram Reels. How has that helped?
So I actually don't use Reels that much. I know I probably should, and it's a great like thing to use on Instagram. But personally, for me, it just felt kind of resistant, so I didn't do it. I actually had a guest speaker speak inside of my membership because I was going to teach on it, and I was like, I really don't want to. But I've seen a lot of people do like they do the dancing ones where they put the text over the music, or they also speak into like their phone. So it's whatever you want to do. And I would say the biggest thing with reels or any type of content is just putting out a lot of content and then looking at the data and seeing what works and what doesn't work, because something might work really well for someone else but it might not work well for you, and that's okay. You just have to like keep testing and experimenting to see like what works for you. So if one of your like listeners really likes to dance, like try doing one of those dancing TikToks where they're giving advice but there's movement in the video. Or if they really like just doing, hey guys, these are 3 tips to increase your Instagram engagement, tip 1, tip 2,
Oh yeah, for sure. And I
yeah.
think I've seen people. This was months back, where people are saying that TikTok is way better than Instagram Reels, and I still do think that it is, right? But
Hmm.
people are really literally reposting their TikToks on Instagram Reels, and they're getting like a huge following. So there's still a lot of organic reach if you
Oh
use
yeah.
Reels.
If you're trying to grow organically on Instagram right now, Instagram Reels is definitely where it's at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, after creating your Pinterest, you said it was a Pinterest course, right? How to
Yeah.
utilize it. What was the next thing you did after that?
So the next step was creating an Instagram course, because then I taught people how I used Instagram to sell my Pinterest course.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, so from there you kind of adding more courses, and I think it's also important because you kind of diversify your portfolio. For example, if one digital product isn't selling, you have two other ones, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is that
Having like,
really
oh, go
that
ahead.
really like the name of the game? Of course, of like if you think about it, like compared to like e-commerce, maybe the more products you have, you know, then the better chance you have of selling more items, right? Same thing for a digital product. If you just count on one and it doesn't go well, then that's your only one source of income. But if you have more digital products, then you can still make money passively, which is the most important thing here.
Yeah, so there's different ways of doing it. So people in my industry, I've seen some people take like their course and then they turn it into a signature course where it sells for a few $1,000s, or they turn it into like a live group coaching program or something like that. So it can also evolve over time. And some people just have one signature course. And then I've seen some people have like 5 different things. So I think it just really depends on, for me, I didn't want to talk about Instagram for like the rest of my life. So that's why I like kept progressing. And that's part of my personality where I like to do different things. And that's why I like business, because you can do different things. So for me, yeah, I just want to keep creating like more products and more things and
Hmm.
help people in different ways.
So what type of products do you have right now? Like what's your portfolio looking at? Looking like?
Yeah, so I actually so I was going to create a bunch of smaller products, and then I was like, why don't I just create a membership where it has everything? So it has the education that you need, the mentorship, the community. So we have like co-working sessions and group coaching calls, and I teach people about branding, product suite, mindset, productivity. We have like a strategy masterclass, and what I'm doing on the back end now is I'm creating funnels so that I'm going to break up my master classes and sell them individually as well. And so with business, you're always like pivoting and evolving, right? So if someone's listening to this and it feels overwhelming, just start with that next step. Like you don't have to think about all of the different pieces. It's going to come to you as your business evolves.
Hmm. And how do you create like a membership? How do you kind of make money off that? Like literally, of course you have your own website, but
Mhm.
um is it like a monthly thing that they pay for, or is it a quarterly sort of system?
Yeah, so we have a monthly payment plan. We were going to have a quarterly payment plan, but I think I'm going to switch it back to monthly. So there's a monthly payment plan, and then they just get charged every month starting from their billing date, or they can also sign up annually and then they get charged every year on that date.
Okay. And what do you use for that? Is it like Wix, Shopify?
So I'm actually in the process right now of switching over from Squarespace and Kartra over to a new platform called Aspire Builders. So that one is going to have like my website, my blog, my courses, memberships, digital products all in one place.
Wait, it said Inspire Builders?
Yeah, Aspire
Oh,
Builders.
Aspire. Okay.
Yeah.
I never heard of that actually. Where did
And
you find that? And wait, what's different about it compared to the other platforms like Shopify and Squarespace?
yeah, so it's a new platform that my friends told me about. And so at first I was like, I don't want to switch over to a new platform, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, I've already built all of these things out. But then I started looking around and I was like, this looks really nice. You can brand your membership area. So with like Teachable, Kartra, they have their own like interface. But with Inspire Builders, you can kind of build like, okay, you want the lessons to go here or here or like wherever, and then you can move things around and add in your own elements. So it just looks like it's a better customer experience for your customers, which I'm all about. I love creating a great customer experience for people. Squarespace is great, but I feel like the functionality, just like when you're building a funnel, either for your freebie. So when people sign up for your freebie, you have a bunch of like steps afterward, right? And
Hmm.
so I can do that in Squarespace. It just like takes a bit more brain power and a bit more like thinking. But with this new thing, it's just so easy to say, okay, this is the next step. And it naturally like you can create different
Yeah.
funnels in there. And that's what I like about it.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that feeling of like literally switching platforms. They say once you're married or once you use one platform, you're married to it and you don't want to switch over because you already made that. It's a huge transition, you know?
Yeah. When I signed up for Kartra, I'm like, this is it. But then with Kartra, even with Kartra, I didn't really like either. I didn't like the front page and I didn't like the back end either. I looked at my sales page and I was like, this is good enough to get people, into my membership, but it's not good enough to make me like feel good about my sales page. And
Hmm.
um, so yeah, it's a lot of work to move it over, but at this point in my business, like I'm ready to scale, I'm ready to grow,
Yeah.
I'm ready to like have my own branded place where people can have an even better experience. So it's all about that like cost analysis of, do you want to spend the time, do you want to spend the energy,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what other ways do you use to get more conversions, get more sales? Because of course you're using I think the term is inbound leads. So of course, when
Yeah.
you're using Pinterest, they literally go to your shop and they may or
Hmm.
may not buy it, right?
Yeah.
But if you can have your own ClickFunnels, your own Facebook ads, for example, you can literally have conversions and look at the data and retarget people and whatnot. Now, what are you doing differently now to really get more sales?
So up until this point, I've been using organic marketing with
Okay.
mostly with Instagram. And so now we're doing ads and I'm actually having someone else set up my ads for me. And so
Mm,
they're going to target and retarget um, them for me. And for me, that's not really my zone of genius, which is why up until this point, I haven't really done it. So that's the other thing about business. Sometimes you like need other people to help you out with the stuff that you're not good at so that you can spend more time doing the things that you are good at, which for me is creating content.
okay, yeah, because I was gonna say like it can be very, of course, creating the actual course itself, focusing on like maybe on the people that are the branding aspect, your social media platforms. If you have a newsletter, that's work too. As a matter of fact, do you have a newsletter?
Yeah, I kind of, but not really. Like I do, but it's
The
it's
flows aren't
like in the
there.
process. Yeah, it's
Okay.
like constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So I do have a Pinterest freebie. So if people want to get started with Pinterest, I can actually send you the link to my Pinterest freebie. But since we're migrating, I don't have it. Like I don't have the new link yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to what I was saying, of course, you can build the email list, you can create
Yeah.
the content, you can do the branding, you
Hmm.
can do the customer service. If you're doing coaching, you do that. And there's so many things that you have to do as an entrepreneur, right? But of course, you want to focus on what your strong point is. So at this point, do you kind of have a team around you, VAs, to really take care of the monotonous things that you have to do, and you focus on the strong points?
So I currently have one team member. She's kind of like my right hand woman. So she handles my membership cancellation. She handles like the emails. So we send out 3 emails once a month
Hmm.
to remind our members of like what's going on in the membership, things to keep up with. She also handles like the project management side of it because I'm not like the best at organization. So she does all of that for me. And sometimes she'll like transcribe my videos. So currently I have her, and then I've outsourced like a few things here and there. Like I'm outsourcing SEO, so someone's going to write a few blog posts for me. But as of right now, it's mainly only me and her, and then the person running my Facebook ads. So they're new, so that's a recent, like very recent, as in this week. Um, but yeah.
Hmm. Now, you said you focus on the content creation, and that's for just for like the social media, Pinterest, etc., right?
Yeah, so that's for like lead generation,
Mm.
nurturing my leads, all of that, and then
Okay.
product development.
So if you were to give us, some allocation or kind of an estimate of how much of your actual leads coming from, like, let me rephrase it this way.
Yeah.
So of course you're doing some Facebook ads, you're doing Pinterest, doing Instagram. Where does most of your traffic get converted from? Is it still
I would say,
Pinterest?
yeah, Instagram would be. So
Instagram?
Pinterest is how I sold my templates and how I drive traffic to my blog posts,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes email, but I mostly focus on Instagram right now. And then now that like going into 2021, I'm going to tap into SEO again.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. And do you also do like maybe mentorship, or you help people follow your model? And if so, how much have they been making over a period of time?
So I don't really like doing client work or one-on-one coaching, so I don't. I mostly just have the membership, and my plan is to scale that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen, um,
But I have, oh, sorry, but I have done one-on-one Instagram intensives, and every time, like when it was basically like 90 minutes of coaching, and I had a framework and everything, and I later turned that into a course in itself. So people who have done one-on-one intensives with me, I've seen their following basically like double. I've seen them show up more on Instagram, all of that stuff. So yeah, I have done a bit of one-on-one coaching, but not that much.
okay.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is that once you have your digital products, you want to add more fuel by outputting more content, right? That will lead to, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
the actual product itself, right? Now,
Yeah.
in terms of digital products, in your experience at least, do you see it as very consistent, or are there some months where it goes down and where it basically fluctuates? How does that look like?
Um, so it really depends how big your audience is, and what kind of marketing you're doing. So if you're doing paid marketing or organic marketing or a mix of both, and then how many launches you're doing in a quarter. So if you're launching January but you're not launching February, then yeah, it's going to go down in February.
Mm-hmm.
If you're so there's also like low ticket items and high ticket items. For high ticket items, most people have a open and closed cart, and then for low ticket items, you want to be constantly driving traffic to that. So there's like a bunch of different factors, but I would say it could be very up and down, or it could also be consistent, and I'm trying to get to that consistent point, which is why I started my membership, so I know at least how much is coming in per
Mm-hmm.
month. Yeah.
Okay. If you were to restart all over again with the knowledge you have right now, what are like the first steps that you'll implement again?
Okay, so I know that we're here talking about digital products, but if someone were like, I'm just sick of my job, I'm not recommending anyone to quit their job, by the way. But if someone were like, okay, I just got fired, or I hate my job so much that I'm just gonna leave, I would say sell one-on-one services first. So whatever someone is good at, right? Whether it's social media management, whether it's copywriting, if they have some sort of skill, I would do that first, because then that's also market research of like, what are my clients struggling with? But if someone is like, I just want to build a personal brand and I'm willing to invest 2 to 4 years into this, then I would say start creating content. If you like being on video, right, like do a lot of video content. If you like writing, start a blog, and then also start an Instagram, and just start creating content, start interacting with other people. So you want to have a content plan, but you also want to have an engagement plan where you're spending time, and it is harder now because everyone is starting like a personal brand online nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not impossible if you're willing to put in the work. So if I had to start all over again, I would just do the same thing that I did. Like, well, no, when I first started, I didn't have a specific audience. So I kind of was like, oh, I'll just like help all the business owners. Um, but now I recommend people have like, if you want to help real estate agents, help real estate agents. If you want to help um, health coaches, help them. And it's not to say that you can't ever branch out, but for right now, you're helping them. So every time a health coach lands on your page, they're like, okay, she does copywriting for health coaches. That's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also how people can get more referrals, because you want to have the cash flow to sustain you over time, which is basically what I did. I just saved up all of my money, and I knew I didn't like doing client work. So when I switched over to digital products, I was like, I'm willing to take a pay cut, you
Yeah.
know? So it really
Mm-hmm.
just all depends. Some people don't want to take a pay cut, and that's totally fine. I have friends who work way more than I do. So it just really all depends on the person.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what's your, I think you mentioned this already, but what's your ultimate ambition? Is it literally just to create more products, work on the product development side?
My biggest thing is like, I just want to live my life and enjoy my life, and business is like the tool that helps me do that. So
Okay.
it's what brings in money for me. It's like what connects me to people that I like interacting with. It's how I grow and learn and make mistakes and all of these things. So maybe in the future I'll do like one-on-one service, like coaching services. Maybe I'll have a mastermind. I'm pretty much open to like whatever comes next, honestly.
Hmm. And when are you going to travel again?
Whenever whenever the world is
Yeah.
like, whenever it's like good to go travel again, because now there's like, I don't know if I go to a country, like, am I going to have to apply? Because I'm like, are they going to kick me out of their country? Or are they going to say like, you have to go back home?
Hmm.
So as soon as I can, I really miss traveling.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be cool. But yeah, right
Yeah.
now times are pretty crazy. But yeah, better to be safe right now. And then of course you can, I guess, save up your money, and then maybe you can even move to a different country permanently and work from there. Who knows?
I
Definitely.
almost lived in Taiwan this year.
Oh, really? Why was
Yeah.
that good? Was that
Yeah, I just like the public transportation is good. I love the food. The people are nice, but I'm like the cockroaches.
I heard that they're very, very technically advanced in Taiwan. Like their tech is
Yeah,
crazy good.
yeah.
I always want
I
to really visit there, go over there and
yeah, I just
whatnot.
definitely should. I definitely recommend it. Both my parents are actually from there, so I've been going back a few times since I was little. I definitely, if you love food and yeah, if you love food, I definitely recommend going
Yeah,
there.
I,
Yeah,
I went to Thailand. That's the only exotic country I've been to. And of course,
yeah.
my parents, they're from Colombia, so I go there every once in a while. But besides that, I haven't
Mhm.
really traveled too much. But that would be cool to really go to Taiwan. I only hear good things about it.
Yeah, Thailand was awesome too.
Oh yeah, it's like it has the beaches, it has the city, it has everything you can want.
Exactly.
So Molly, I don't want to take too much of your time here. So if people want to learn more about you, learn more about creating digital products and leveraging your personal brand to sell digital products, where can they find that? Where can they find you?
So they can find me on Instagram at Molly Hill Studio, or they can also Google Molly Hill Studio, and all of my links will pop up.
Awesome. So I'll put all those links in the show notes. If anyone wants to click on that, DM you, learn more about you, they can certainly do that. All right, Molly.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
I
it's definitely
appreciate
a
it.
pleasure. Yeah. Wait, don't leave yet.